Right, good morning, ladies and gents. Welcome to some YouTube. It's 11 a.m. on Saturday, and there's nothing running. So I'm going to jump into some 100 Zoom, and we're going to focus this play and explain on exploiting. I think I did this once before at 50 and 0, where I really tried to push the envelope. We're going to do it at 100 Zoom this time and see what happens for a little bit of fun content for you guys. So going to really try hard to exploit the population here as much as we possibly can, get into lots of fun spots and put as many people as we can into the blender. So we'll just fucking one take it and get into the mix. Bootcamp signups are now closed for Bootcamp 2.0. So apologies if you missed the boat on that one. There will be a Bootcamp 3.0 probably at some point later in the year, but this is definitely the last one I'm going to be doing for a while, and I'm going to be focusing very much on kind of playing. The good thing is for you guys who just want the free content, you're not going to hear me plugging paid for stuff for the foreseeable future for now. So we'll get back to the good stuff, the free shit. Squeeze in the king queen here with a recreational here and maybe one here as well. Just going to get through a lot as long as this is a friend and a student of mine. So hello Jake if you're watching. Who's this? This is an unknown. I don't think I have my HUD turned on actually. Let me just do that. Oh no, it is turned on. Yeah, here we go. Tens I think is a hand that wants to bet. Not going to really use the RNG too much here. Just because I say, going to really focus on exploiting. Does look like it is a recreational, for what it's worth. So yeah, 10's in that kind of spot. He's basically the hand I want to start building my betting range around. This is probably a board you want a check-in range on. I think in terms of sizing, like you can just go small here in position and it's going to be fine because of how many high cards our opponent will have. Ace Ace 3 is just a range bet. Good board for us as the in position player. When we're the 3 better, we're going to be doing much better overall. Turn doesn't strike me as a bet, to be honest. Having hearts is not going to be overly ideal. I think sizing's also kind of interesting here as to what we would pick. Maybe something a little bit smaller here just to allow us to bet our trips a little bit more. But I think our hand's just a slam dunk check. Would start bluffing hands like 9, 10 of diamonds or something. When we ISO the recreation up here with a 9-7, this is a board that obviously we can do a lot of betting on. I think versus a recreational, I do like checking back and then seeing what they do with their sizing an awful lot. River here with the king jack, I think we're just going to have a really profitable bluff at this point. I think pot is going to put him in the blender with like 7s and stuff. Definitely going to play some ace-x this way, at least perceived to. Here when we river trips, we are going to be all in. We just want to get the max from a 10. It's not going to be a 10 all that much, but we want to get the max, and it's a recreational who's probably going to be very inelastic. The draws miss as well, so it's quite easy for him to convince himself that we just have a busted draw there, and then click call with something like Jack 10. Recreationals as well, they won't value bet thin enough, so I actually think he's going to check quite a lot of 10x on the river when he probably should just be betting it a lot. My logic is always versus recreationals, get the fucking maximum. They are inelastic with their calling ranges, and therefore all in when you have it is... It's very difficult for it not to be the most profitable action at the end of the day. You can argue, oh, if I bet pot, Simon is always going to call a 10. And if I go all in, then he might fold a 10, which is granted. But if we go all in, when we do get called, we win 50 bigs rather than 12. which is going to make quite a considerable difference to the EV. So just play for the fucking lot. It's no limit Texas Hold'em, boys. It's not pot limit. That's like my favourite thing in the world to say. If we're playing 100 NL, I guess fold 8-7. Could consider calling it when we pay less rake, but in a higher rake game like this, I think you just want to be a bit tighter from the big blind. I'm going to try to make this video a bit longer. I've got like another 40 minutes or so spare before I'm going to go run around and play some football in today's horrendous weather. Quite a lot of guys who play higher just playing 100 zoom at this time. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but... right, pocket tens, we'll go for a 3-bet every single time. Pool is good, though. I mean, lots of green tags. I always kind of hear like people say, "Oh, stars is dead, stars is this, stars is that," but like I don't really subscribe to that, if I'm being honest. I think it's a bit of a myth. Ace 9-3, we can just play range bet here, blind on blind. It's just a really good board for us. King 2 is probably one of the last hands that we do want to just keep betting, but start by betting. But if we're going to range bet, we're going to range bet. On the turn, having a 2 is nice. We do have some EV in like check call. We do have EV bluffing as well. Yeah, I think if we've got him tagged recreational, I think bluff is better than check. Like if we check, he's going to overstab. That's generally what recreationals are going to do. But they will overfold in general, he says. I mean, he kind of looks... He's got the recreational tag, but he looks like reggae stats, so we'll give him the purple. As played, obviously easy fold. King 6 here, because, you know, he is going to have the recreational tag or semi-recreational. I'm expecting him not to 3-bet us enough from the blinds, and therefore we can open much wider. I'm going to go c-bet flop and check turn here, I think, with King 6. Again, like if we just assume recreational players, a good thing to do right with recreationals is to study them. Going to open wide here with the 2 recs up here. This is obviously very wide, but going to be fine. We're going to make a lot of win rate from these guys. But yeah, well, aligned recreationals often just overstabbing is they call small flop C bets too wide, and then they stab the turn too wide. So you can very often, like with the King 6 there, just go C bet flop, check call turn, and then check call river, and you're going to be making quite a lot of money. Germany's going to be a recreational, I think. We can assume that, at least. Get the cold call here. I mean, it's just a very good board for me. I think we can just, again, start with a small c-bet here. Capitan is not going to hit this very hard. The recreational is going to be super wide. We can use this as a bluff later down the line as well, I think. So we do get the snap call here, which I will have mentioned many times before, but it's just very indicative that he has like a little piece of it. Is that a misclick or is that just a snap lead here? I actually think raise is just printing here at this point. We are completely uncapped. It'll fold out the recreational a lot. And this is just not a line I would expect anyone to take with value in a million years. It could also just be a misclick. So not really asked about having pocket 8s there. That's just not a good hand. And then, as I say, when we raise here, he is forced to fold his Jack X, and he will. Might even fold a king. I wouldn't expect it, but it would be a bonus. But again, the recreational here is going to call the flop too wide, so like we can just raise and he's just going to be overfolding anyway. because he'll be in there on the flop with hands that he shouldn't be in there with. And yeah, I mean, the turn lead there, I don't necessarily hate it. It's just the fact he snapped it, like, and he's only called the flop. There's just not, I'm not giving him the top end there. Let's put it that way. Jack 6, probably a fold at 100 and L, I think. Versus 2.25. It's depressing, but I'm going to do it. Okay, so just starting with a range check on the first table here. Goes check, ace queen. I don't want to check raise. Check call's kind of whatever, so I think we're just going to always go small delay here. Small size is all that's really required. Because the board's very interchangeable. I don't want to start putting too much money in with my range here. And also, like, you know, what does he do with sixes with no club, for example, which is, again, going to be a decent portion of his checking range. That kind of region of hand. So we can apply a lot of pressure with a small size. Ace King going multi-way. I'm just going to start with a check call here. I'm going to play it from there. This button range should be quite snug. This is probably a recreational. If it's a recreational as well and he's stabbing the flop, I'm expecting it to be a little bit more value heavy. Because of the recreational, like he's not hugely incentivized at least to start bluffing that much. Yeah, getting the check's amazing. So we just win now. Expecting him to bluff 4-5 and stuff as well. So we can pretty much here bet whatever size we want. So I'm expecting it to be like ace 5, ace 4, ace 10 and stuff like that. Medium ace X quite a lot. So I think we want to go about 150 is going to put that into a tough spot, I think. On this board here, we're going to be good a lot. I just kind of want a better size that folds out over cards or at least puts them into the blender. So think about like just above 1/3 seems about right. Snap call looks good. Turn we're just going to check and check call. It's a bit thin at this point, but again, recreational player, he's just going to stab the turn too much and we can just get this in. He'll stab the turn now with sixes and stuff, and a 7 and stuff like that. So we're going to call and get shown 5-2. Fair enough. But yeah, super standard, that one. We'll give him the VIP tag for that one, because 5-2 is a one way of doing it, I say. But yeah, nothing really to be done here. I would, as I say, expect him to just shove random stuff. Never underestimate the random factor of recreational players. They are going to be in there with hands that we struggle to comprehend. And therefore, they're going to do stupid shit. So with that in mind, call is often a very, very good idea versus them. Just a shame it didn't work out this time, but there we go. So this guy's like playing 26 over 9, so we're just going to assume, and that's quite a lot of hands, 128 hands, so we're going to assume sort of nit fish kind of thing, so that's probably not going to be a bad board for him in a lot of ways. Probably thinking, if it checks through, just to bluff the river. Let's go call. I think ace queen's primarily a call. You can definitely 4-bet this, but I think we're just going to go kind of exploitative everywhere, and I'm going to avoid using the RNG as much as I can. So versus Mr. 5-2, I'm going to 3-bet him to 1,000,000 big blinds here. Going to call 1 with the ace queens. Very close on the flop, actually, but Okay, so we're going to stab small. Probably the last hand I want to stab. Yeah, I think check works. It's interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's just a free roll, I think. There's not going to be much atex in his range here, like so fucking minimal. I mean, he should just be calling his range here, but he might not. So in it goes. Good luck him. I just bet an 8 a lot on the turn. Obviously 8-7 I'm going to bet more often than not. Pocket 8s I'm going to bet more often than not. I might check back some kind of like ace-8, but obviously with the flop action, it's already close. So basically I don't have an 8, but he might not know that. And also, like, he's not going to have much atex here, so I think we can just shove our range. As I say, I think it's just a range call from him, but that's why we can shove, because it will get through. Again, with the 10s, I'm going to go infinitely big versus Mr. 5-2, so if I usually go 7.5, I'm probably going to go 11 here or something. Just got to find the threshold for this dude. So, you know, he raised before and we went 16 and he folded. So when that was out of position, let's see what he does to 11. Playing rather normally now, it seems. But I think super important as well. I bet basically, like, the bigger the recreational, the more out of line you can get, is a good way of approaching things. Very passive dudes. Probably going to start with a check for a bit of info here. If he pots it, we can just fold. If he snap checks, we're going to enjoy life. Would have bluffed for like a medium size on the turn, I think now. How do I want to do this? It's kind of still only a 1 street hand when he's so tight. I'm actually just going to check again. Okay. Now we'll just pot it. So just betting to what I think my hand's worth here, really. I think pot's about right. I think he's not going to have too much here, but still fat value. He might, as I say, because he's 27/9, he's just going to be checking, again, hands that we would never expect him to. So I think he'll show up with king, queen and stuff here often enough. Just going to ISO any 2 versus a limp from the blinds here. Because people are just going to play incredibly poorly versus that. 0.5. I'm so tempted to write 10. In fact, we're going to do it. 9. We have fun. I should get 4 back now. Mega mind stuff, eh? So again, opening 7-6 with the 2 recreationals. This is really good games. Like, if 100 zoom is your main game, this looks pretty cool. This looks pretty nice. This guy 16/9 over 45 hands. So we're going to assume tight recreational. I like checking this, to be honest. I think again, just check back, see what he does on the turn, and then use it as a bluff later down the line. It's not one of those I'm like amazingly excited to start piling money in with. And now we're just going to bluff for medium. Very often, medium size, if you want to bluff recreationals, is the best thing to do. Don't go too big, don't go too small. Medium usually does the trick. And it's usually the size that they fold to the most. That's an above average river. How do we want to do this? He checks twice, but he's nitty. So it's not unreasonable that he would have flushes here, so I'm not going to play all in. I think just overbet at this point. Because again, tight recreational, they will slow play flushes and stuff, I think. If I didn't think that was the case, or if I had a flush in this line, for example, I'd just be all in. But the worry is there that he, you know, with the profile he is, and the fact that recreationals can definitely slow play twice, they actually do it better than regs in a lot of respects. That we are a little bit handcuffed there, when it's not the absolute nuts at least. So opening 7-2 versus this guy, who again is just going to be too tight. Just going to start with a range bet on the flop here. Again, I'm, you know, range betting, quote unquote, 100% of hands here, but we'll survive. Turn. I think we're a bit more incentivized just to keep barreling this one rather than try and check raise it. So like oftentimes, again, versus recreationals, you can, instead of, well, basically, if you have value, check to check raise, or if you have mid-strength, check to check call. If you have a bluff, just bet medium, and that's often my approach, which I don't think is necessarily a bad one. And as I say, it's irrelevant of the board texture a lot of the time. Not irrelevant, but when I'm looking to exploit regs, for example, I'm very conscious of the board texture and my overall strategy, but versus recreationals, you don't need to be any of that. You can just do whatever you want. Ace Queen's not going to make much money here, annoyingly. Yeah, I actually think I'm just going to fold that. He's quite tight, and we're out of position. In position, obviously, easy call, but out of position, it's hard to kind of, versus what I think is going to be a strong range, it's going to be hard to like maneuver there, even versus a recreational, who doesn't look like very recreational. Obviously, if he's this guy who's tagged pink, then yeah, by all means, we're going to flick that in. But versus like a tighter recreational, I can't see the money flowing there. 7-6, just range betting flop, free bet pre-flop again, so it's going to print money. Turn, we're just going to give up now. Mr. Chips, that's, I can't remember his name, but he's a 888 guy, isn't he? River, we're just going to bet medium here. We're just not looking to fold him off any pair. We're just looking to fold him off Queen Jack and Queen 10 and diamonds. So this will do the trick. If he's not snap folded, we are dead. But there we go. Maybe as a bonus. No, what a sicko. What a beast. That's a very nice goal. I like that a lot. That's such a shame. Maybe we should have gone bigger. Maybe it's fine. 9-8, let's go for a free bet. Fair fucking play. I would say usually that's going to get through. But apparently not. Apparently not this time. He must know. Maybe we just go half pot or something like that. Again, I mean, I've just been talking about bluffing for medium. I mean, that might be a case in point of it, you know, instead of just sizing down a little bit. Maybe I'm being results orientated, who knows. 10-7-7, yeah, we'll just range bet and be fine with that. Yeah, just 3-bet smaller here because I don't want to get 4-bet and I want to lose the minimum. But I do want to ISO him. Flop's interesting. So he could just range bet. Could consider check to keep in some ace high stuff, but I think if we go small enough, he calls that anyway. Just going to go all in here with ace 9 versus a min raise. That's not going to be overly strong. That's a very nice turn to see. Just medium. Geometric. Do I ever want to go bigger? In fact, I think I want to go a little bit bigger here because I don't think he's going to fold draws. So I think 13.5 is about the sweet spot. Charge the draws. It's not my favourite river, but we won't be folding. If he donk jams, we still call. when he doesn't, we win. But even versus a donk jam here, there's again, it's just the price we would have been getting. There's again just enough random shit that, you know, we're never considering folding trips. Do we win? I expect to win. Well, I expected him to fold jack high, so, you know, we can always be wrong. Welsh Gaz in the pool. Alright, Welsh Gaz, let's 3-bet you. See, Welsh Gaz plays higher, he plays 500 zoom when that runs, so maybe he's recording content too, who knows. I think he just I know he plays zoom. I know he just enjoys zoom more than reg tables, so I think he just plays what's running. I'll just fold ace-5 for that, no problem. Tight guy, 3x open. I mean, it's a fold anyway, but I don't think we need to be too out of line there. Oh, that's good stuff. Sanctity also plays high. I think, again, you know, never see these guys playing reg tables, so I think they just play zoom. We will 3-bet the tens. Hungary, usually reg is on 2 table. Yeah, I'm going to assume reg. Alright, how do I win everything here? I'm going to let him catch up with a low SPR here. Like, there's no, you know, run out that I'm really concerned about with jacks. So I'm just going to try and let him catch up. I'm going to min bet, I think. Let's see what you do with that. That is, unfortunately, the run out that we were, that we were scared of. Yeah, that's annoying. He has a lot of ace high as well, so we'll just check. To make it a 7. 5-4 will defend. Might be some frequency of fold somewhere along the line, but if you call, you can flop straights. Ooh, interesting thing to do. I'm not sure that this board is much bet, to be honest, and I'm not sure it's a snap C bet. I don't know. It's hard to say whether this is just too strong or if he just doesn't understand that he wants a checking range here. I mean, I'm assuming he wants a checking range. I've not studied ace-3-2 in this position, but monotone boards you want to check a lot. So, I'm going to raise every time. Small will do the trick. This should kind of filter his air, and it's probably a raise size I would use to filter his air with. Turn, I could definitely argue for check jam. My worry is it'll go check check a bit too much. But I think that's okay. I think check jam's the way to put the money in here. Get him to just bet call everything, and then when this happens we can just be all in. Yeah, there's a risk of him just having ace queen or something and checking back. He's going to have a very bluff catch heavy range at this point. He would have stabbed the turn, I think, with a lot of his bluffs. It can be quite easy for him to just arrive here with ace queen and then go, oh, this guy just is bluffing me. What does he rep, etc. And then flick it in. Going to open really wide here for these two players. So I could bet the turn now. I'm just a little bit worried about like how many bad rivers there are in the deck. Like an ace is bad. Obviously a spade is bad. And I don't really fold him off like one spade holdings on the turn. Whereas I could check and then he bets and then jam and then it's just a better way of doing it, I think. It's a big raise size. Suppose it's fine. Versus min raise, like the limp, we're just going to attack and 3-bet everything. So again, just min raise, recreational, blind on blind, like it's just weak. Limps are weak, min raises are weak, 3Xs will be a bit stronger. And I mean, you know, a bit. It's not like I won't attack a 3X either, but versus a 3X, I'll just look to play normal, if you will. So, well, not normal, I'll just 3-bet very linear. But yeah, again, just a good pro tip. You'll just print money versus if you just attack min raises and limps, blind on blind, you'll print money by just raising any two. But as I say, take it as far as you want to take it. You know, if you're not comfortable raising any two, you don't have to. That's the beauty of exploiting. You can go for the soft exploit rather than the max exploit, and you'll still be doing okay. Oftentimes, that's a good thing to do. Again, the bigger the recreational, the more you're gonna, you know, as I say, the harder we'll exploit. Or if it's versus a reg, it's, you know, few and far between when you're gonna go for a max exploit. But lots of soft exploiting, as I say, where you're kind of, yeah, for example, 3-betting wider, but not, you know, 3-betting hands that don't make any sense, can often be a very good thing to do. Just gonna fold to the pot from our friend up there. Who are you? Denmark. Again, Denmark's usually not a reg. Not to say they don't exist, but time bank call makes me just want to squeeze. As that's just pure indecision, and that's just going to get a lot of folds. It gets a lot of folds anyway, but unless he's between 3-betting and calling, but most people won't be. 841, yeah, I mean, he's so wide, and fish aren't like positionally conscious. They'll raise the same range from the button as they will from middle position, so we'll just 3-bet and get this in. But I think just check with the 8s at the moment. See what he does. If he pots it, we'll be out. If he shoves, we'll also be out. So actually, like, recreationals do play a little bit more sort of straightforward on ace-high boards. Like, he'll just randomly show his ace-10 off here. An awful lot. They like to fast play on ace-high boards. I will say that that's not backed up by any kind of data. That's just my experience, so take that with a pinch of salt. But it does definitely feel that way, that they just fast play on ace-high boards and are more inclined to slow play on other boards. Probably some kind of reg. I think queens is just more check than bet, so we'll just go with the check, seeing as we're not using the RNG. We get quite a quick overbet on the turn, nothing obviously to be done, quite an easy call. And again here, just going to go medium versus the recreational. It's not the best river I've ever seen, that one. And yeah, medium again, just going to go after 10x and pocket 4s and shit like that. It's actually quite a good river in a lot of ways. Yeah, so overbet. Obviously, the issue with this river is his bluff's complete. And yeah. Saying that, the plus side is he just has 10-9 off. 10-9 suited, probably not 10-9 off, but he does have Jack-10 off. That's quite a lot of hands. Jack-9. Oh, yeah, this could be a call, actually. Because it's basically saying he only has a 6 at this point. There's a lot of offsuit bluffs, which he will bluff always, yeah, I think we call. That will obviously win, but I just think in that when he has Jack-10 off, probably pure in that line, because it's very natural to overbet the turn, and it's very natural to get that river and always bluff. I'm unsure that he's allowed to bluff every Jack-10 off combo there, and therefore I think it's probably overbluffed. Slightly. It's not great, don't get me wrong, but... And when he's polarizing to basically, as I say, a 6 or better... I think a lot of the worry is that he had 2 pair or a set, basically. And now when he goes that size, at least we know he doesn't have that. That is the worst river in the deck, but we will not be folding. Because he could just have Queen 9 and value shove, so... Good luck us, I guess. Or Ace 5, there you go. It's a pretty sick river shove, that one, from that boy. I actually quite like it. Is he the guy who called with Jack High? I think he was. Fair play to him, he's got some moves. He's got some moves, but as I say, I mean, we are going to lose there an awful lot. But the good news is, as I say, we can potentially beat value. So, golden rule of bluff catching is make sure you have a bluff catcher. If you beat value, you don't have a bluff catcher. Twos is interesting. Ooh, what do we reckon here? I think with the backdoor straight stuff going on, I think we can make the argument for a little bit of call. I'm going to call 5s every time because that's the kind of game we're playing today. And it's obviously fine anyway. Unbelievably tempted to raise that size, but I can't be that confident that it's weak. So I'm not going to go and deviate that hard, but I'd probably deviate that hard with like 5-6 there. Check on the flop. Not going to bet that much here still. Not really incentivized to bet much. Like a queen's not, you know, super excited about it. Now I'm kind of incentivized to bet. I think just medium. I want to bet a queen for medium. I don't have much 8x. He's going to have a lot of ace high, and this should at least ask the question. We're going to get called by ace king like endlessly, but bluffing our hand makes a lot of sense, I think. And he gets through. It's one of those at that spot as well. Like, it can be quite easy to, I know from my own experience, to bottle that bluff on the river because you're just like, oh, he only has ace high and ace high just calls. But that's not always the case. He doesn't A, always just have ace high, and B, he might fold it. Gonna call the 6-4. Probably just calling because it's a min raise and he's really passive, and min raise will be a bit weaker. Also, like, that's a really important point. Like, if he's not going to value bet king 9 on the river there, my turn call just goes massively up in EV. There you go. I used my RNG out of habit there. I actually think fold this anyway. It's a mix and recreational here, and then we can get squeezed, especially from the big blind. What was I saying? So yeah, like if he doesn't value bet thin enough here, then like you should call turn wider because you just get to showdown more often overall. And a lot of like the EV of the turn call depends on how often your opponent's going to follow through on the river. Obviously this is very loose, but again, we're just ISOing a recreational player. Just going to start with small c-bet and just opening really wide here because this guy's too tight. What do I want to do here? This is an interesting one. It's not a 3 street hand, but there is a lot of value from getting called by all his draws on the turn. Yeah, so I think we go that. bet check rather than check back, I think. That's the downside. You can have a better hand, but Jack is probably the best turn in the deck, in all honesty, for me here. Should be folding out like a lot of his Jack X on the flop. Not all of it, obviously, but a lot of it. So like our top pairs here are like go up in value, if anything. So just always betting your top pair on the turn there is going to be pretty good, actually. We're going to start with a range check on the left. We'll run this for another 5 minutes, and then we'll GG. So opponent goes small, which I think is really nice. Queen Jack can do a bit of everything here. What do we reckon? This is genuinely one of those where I actually will use the RNG, I think. Because I'm just so unbelievably indifferent to both options. I don't really have an exploitative reason for doing one or the other, to be honest. Turn's interesting. Interesting is size. Usually, if you know, on this kind of turn where you definitely can have overbets, usually when people don't, it's going to be a bit weaker. Yeah, that was Queen 10, I think. Or Ace 10, yeah. It's just a minor thing here. Like, he might just be playing 67% or check on the turn there, right? That might be what his strategy is. This is fun. I'm going to make it a nice round number for him. A nice $10 to call. And I'm going to check and let him shove. Which is what he did before. There we go. He actually has it. That's a... In terms of runouts and the runout that you could want to see there, that's probably the best one for him. Queen Jack, yeah, just check in. So yeah, back on this, when he has, I just wonder, right, if he bets this size here with eights. And my instinct is to say no, he'll overbet when he has eights. So this is, because it's such an uncommon spot, right, when you get into common spots, people have a pretty good idea of what their strategy looks like overall, right? But the more uncommon spots you get into, the more people then just tend to do what their hand wants to do because they don't know what the theory is. And this, as I say, feels like one of those spots. I could, you know, this is a massive assumption, and as I say, I want to preface this by saying, let's bluff here. I want to preface this by saying this is just an assumption. You know, I can't really place much weight on this whatsoever. But again, based on experience and things that I've seen, when people could overbet and they don't, it's usually something weaker. Oh, that's a bad river. It's a bad run out, actually. Yeah, I'm okay folding that one. It's close. It's very close. So yeah, as I say, anecdotal, shall we say, but definitely something that I think could be happening at least. But again, don't have the proof to be able to say with a high degree of confidence, shall we say, but this time it was what we thought it would be. Welsh Gaz, let's play polar or check. This is one of those where I would again use my RNG, I think. I mean, I basically never bet, and I think I want to bet low stuff more than high stuff because I can. Yeah, let's just go pure check. Maybe bet with a heart. How about that? Probably a good way of doing it. That's actually quite a good turn. Still going to play pot check. And now I think we might have a decent bluff candidate. Yeah, let's go for it. Again, this will need to check a lot in theory, right? This is probably still quite low frequency because I'm going to bluff a 4 and a 5 really often, and this will be in there for when it's a 4 or 5 river quite a lot. When we get check called here, just going to be shutting down. It's not a good river for us. And therefore, this kind of region of hand, I think, is just okay to check back and lose, to be honest. And again, there versus Welsh Gaz, I'll try and do my best to play theory-orientated poker because he's going to be better than your average 100 zoom reg, I would say. And be doing a better job of checking stuff twice, at least. But yeah, obviously River 4, River 5 will follow through. Queen obviously will follow through. Brick 9, not in a massive hurry, I would say. Always got to be conscious of that. That when he could probably have a leading range on that river, in truth. Because my range that bets the turn here is so polarized. Therefore, it's, you know, air or an ace or whatever. And his calling range is no air on the river. That means the equities will shift dramatically and he could just have a leading range. Going to size up with ace queen because it's so strong. And we'll sit out next big blind. This was a lot of fun. 100 zoom's kind of a fun stake to play, isn't it? I'd say like in general, like a lot of, I would look at 100 zoom with a lot of positivity if I was an 100 zoom reg, because like every table, this is what, Saturday morning, which is hardly a peak time. But every single table seemingly has 2 fish on it. Actually you just have a quick look at the lobby, and you just look at how many green, purple and pink you see. It's fucking a lot. Like, yeah, looks like a pretty good game. This is what I mean when, people say, oh, Stars is dead. I don't know. Well, at least for, you guys playing 100 Zoom or whatever, not so much. Rather play this than GG Russian Cash and pay extra rake. So, yeah. Anyway, GG, guys, as I say, more free content to come. I just, sometimes the Play and Explains, when I've got a bit of time, are just the easiest ones to record. So that's obviously why. And they also do the best. With the views and stuff like that, so that's why I record them the most. But let me know what you all think. Hope you enjoy it. More free content to come soon. No more plug-in paid content anymore. As I say, I'm sure a lot of you will be happy to to see the back of that. And yeah, have fun. See you on the next.